Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews, and this is Refuge from Narcissism. And this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Anonymous, and here's her story. Hi, Ollie. Please accept my contribution I sent through PayPal that you have earned and deserve. Call me Anonymous. I have wanted to tell this story for some time now and think your channel may be the right outlet. Telling the entirety of narcissistic abuse is not something that can be divulged in one sitting, nor could anyone want to absorb such negativity all at once, so I will stick to a particularly painful and life-changing event that I am dealing with currently as I write this email. Here is a little information about me and my life that led me to this email. I am a 44-year-old female and Australian. My country and this society has more belief in me and protection for me than my own parents ever provided. My father is a complete bastard, came to this country from Argentina 3 years before I was born, and had 3 children, one after the other, all a year apart. My mother went back to Argentina after I was born. My father remarried to a woman who only found money, dick, and attention of any importance. I believe she was so selected to achieve a goal of ridding himself from an irritation, me. After I was born, my mother left my father, and my father's mother came from overseas for 2 years to care for us. I loved her very much, and it is the only time in my childhood I can remember receiving unconditional love. When her visa was up, she had to go back, and I do not believe my father used those 2 years wisely and had no backup plan for our upbringing. I did not last an hour after she put on that plane before I was thrown into a wall and severely injured. He did this because we entered our house. He fell to his knees, sobbing in despair. So I put my hand on his shoulder to console him and was pushed away. I stood there and yelled at him, and the last thing I remember, I was only 2. I could not walk properly after this. We moved states, and my father found and married a beast just like him. In the beginning, she just pretended to like us. She had a husband and 2 young girls of her own she left behind to be with my father. Her initial instinct was to attack my older sister, as she saw her as a rival for my father's affection, being firstborn. However, her aggression was consistently directed towards me. I later found out this was my father's doing, and I believe this was so my father could bring his mother back to Australia and did not want her to see the damage he had done to me. Wait a minute, is that worded right? I later found out that this was my father's doing, and I believe this was so my father could his mother come back to Australia and did not want her to see the damage he had done to me. He shamelessly manipulated his new wife to hurt me, and it took 8 years for that horror show of a woman to finally figure out she was being used. But that is a whole other story. This story is how my stepmother nearly killed me when I was 7. Here is some backstory. My stepmother sent my sister and I to be babysat at a pedophile's house, and one day I was molested. My stepsisters were staying with us for holidays at the time, and my sister told. My stepmother took a block of wood to my sister and broke her arm, ripped the end of her little finger right off. Oh my God. While my father took my sister to the hospital, she used terror and lies to brainwash me, and the next morning took me to the police station and pushed me in front of 2 huge cops. I blanked out. I must have fainted. Pushed you in for what? 2 months later, it was Christmas holidays, and my stepmother's daughters had not come to visit. I was made to clean out a kitchen cupboard, and it was hot, and I was lethargic. Out of nowhere, my stepmother came stomping into the kitchen and starts beating me, banging my head into tiles, punching and kicking. She was a solid bitch in her 30s, but her arms and hands were never as strong as her legs and feet. That day, she had me right where she wanted me. She kicked me in the side so hard, I feel something break inside me. The pain was excruciating, and the sound of that death kick knocking the life out of me snapped her out of her rage. She left me there in silence as I could not breathe for ages after this. For a long time after this bashing, I could not eat. The smell of food made me feel ill. I would throw my lunches out at school and would rather get sent to bed than eat dinner. This went on for months. Someone must have noticed because my father started having dinner with the family again, and I was coaxed into eating even if it was a portion of a sandwich. I was so emaciated the school must have reported it. This is when my depression really started. I had no strength. This was you crying for help. This was you being trying to show somebody on the outside you're being abused. So you starved yourself, hoping somebody would notice. 44 years later, in a lifetime of anemia, a good doctor and a lot of internal investigation found 8 lesions in my small intestines that are still hemorrhaging as I write this email. I had an intravenous iron replacement only 3 days ago and now have the energy to write to you. I want this story out there because women are kicking children to death all over this amazing world, and nobody is talking about it. I believe that Letitia Stouch kicked young Gannon Stouch to death, took her shitty little arms. I think she lost control and busted something inside him with some death kicks and tried to hide the evidence. She's so smug. Gannon's autopsy has not been released yet. I'm convinced Jennifer Rosenbaum kicked her foster daughter so hard she split her spleen in half. I forgot all about Rosenbaum. Wow. Kicked her foster daughter so hard that she split her spleen in half off her own backbone. As if that awful woman had the strength to do with her arms like she claims. Cruel women do not want the world to know that they are not strong enough to kill a child with the power of a punch. Well, some of them can. I will never forget the satisfied steps of my fat stepmother as she walked away from my broken body. She felt real power that day, and imagine how good she would have felt if she could have achieved the same damage with her fists. I think they enjoy kicking us. I think they physically enjoy kicking us. I mean, you see, women can kick you harder than they can hit you, though, because of, hip placement, and they can draw a lot of power in their legs. I think one of the leg press records, one of the people that I saw in my high school was actually set by an Asian female who was skinny, petite, but she had her hip placement was in such a way when she could rack the whole leg press rack with easily without even straining herself, just on her hip placement. This is commonly... Oh, I'm sorry. I will never forget the satisfied steps of my fat stepmother as she walked away from my broken body. She felt real power that day, and imagine how good she would have felt if she could have achieved the same damage with her fists. This is commonly referred to as blunt force trauma. What do you think happens to women in jail who kick babies to death? My insides are busted, but my doctors are going to cauterize the bleeding blood vessel to plug the leaks. Every time I heal and overcome an injury from my past, be it mental or physical, it's like a rebellious act against narcissism, and I say, fuck you, psychopaths. Healing is my purpose in life, and the journey is long. Thank you for the help. Thank you for helping people heal, Ollie, and for telling part of my story. More power to you. Anonymous. Whether it's mental kicks or physical kicks, the kicks of the borderline woman, the borderline mother, the damage lasts forever. This just goes into my theme once again. This thought that all women are victims and these precious little flowers. And listen, I would say it's probably like an 80-20 split of how many people come to my channel because of the abuse from a woman than the abuse from a man. I mean, there's plenty of male stories here, on here. But the violence that comes from women, the abuse that has come from women, quite frankly, it's frightening. You know, I don't think it really matters whether these women hurt you with their fists or hurt you with their feet, as long as they hurt you. That's all they care about. We've all been raised by, most of us have been raised by women, have dealt with women like this who enjoy physically hurting you. They enjoy it. They like it. And they don't care if it's with a fist, with a foot, with a bat, with a belt. They don't care. They like it. They like it. So, I hope that helps. Thank you so much for your contribution and story, Anonymous. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, or you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or you'd just like to make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you guys, as this channel is completely demonetized by YouTube. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care.